When Ferrari unveiled its hypercar in 2013, it didn't bother with numbers, tributes, or code names. It was simply called LaFerrari, or the Ferrari. Not a Ferrari, the Ferrari. This wasn't just a car, it was an identity statement, a culmination of decades of engineering, racing, and red-blooded madness distilled into a carbon fiber sculpture. Let's take a look at the origin story of this car, and then afterwards we'll take it over to the Tokyo Expressway to see how it handles against other cars we've previously tested. Join me on this adventure, and let's jump into LaFerrari. After the Enzo Ferrari stormed the supercar world in 2002, Ferrari knew the stakes had only gone up. The world was changing. The era of naturally aspirated excess was giving way to electrification, efficiency, and emissions regulations. Yet Ferrari still had one thing to prove. We can go hybrid, but we're going to do it our way. Meanwhile, McLaren was cooking up the P1, Porsche had the 918 Spider, and the holy trinity of supercars was being formed. So Ferrari could not and would not sit this one out. The original project name for this car was Project F-150. It's not named after the F-150 from Ford, even though it kind of seems to draw on that Ford versus Ferrari heritage. Ferrari's internal name for the project was F-150 as a direct successor to the Enzo and as a spiritual heir to the 288 GTO, F40, and F50. It had only one mission: build the most advanced Ferrari ever. Marry Formula One hybrid technology with the naturally aspirated V12 Fury, and make it faster, sharper, and more exotic than anything else on the road. At the heart of the LaFerrari was a 6.3-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine making 789 horsepower, the most powerful non-turbo engine Ferrari had ever installed in a road car. But it didn't stop there. Ferrari grafted on a HYAERS, or Hybrid Kinetic Energy Recovery System, straight from the Formula One racing team, adding an extra 161 horsepower from an electric motor. The total output, a hair-raising 950 horsepower. But this wasn't a plug-in hybrid. There were no electric-only modes, and the system was designed to deliver instant torque at lower RPMs, fill the gaps in the power band, and optimize braking regeneration and corner exits. This wasn't a compromise, it was just a performance-first electrification, Ferrari style. The design was penned by Flavio Manzoni and his design team. The LaFerrari looked like it had escaped from Ferrari's F1 wind tunnel and was bolted straight into Maranello's road division. Key features included an ultra-low, sharp nose cone inspired by Formula One aerodynamics, an active aerodynamic system including a deployable rear wing, diffusers, and flaps, and a cockpit forward layout with aggressive rear haunches. The doors opened up and out in a dramatic butterfly motion, much like the Enzo. Inside was a minimalist, driver-focused cockpit festooned with carbon fiber, Alcantara, and racing DNA. The seats were fixed to the tub, and the pedals and wheels adjusted instead for driver fit, just like an LMP1 car. The LaFerrari's monocoque was 100% carbon fiber, hand-built in the same facility that made the Ferrari F1 cars. It was 20% lighter and 27% stiffer than the Enzo's tub. Even the battery pack, which was located in the floor, was positioned to optimize the center of gravity. Everything else had a purpose, and everything was race-bred. The LaFerrari was unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show in March of 2013. Journalists stared. Rivals nodded in respect. Ferrari hadn't just shown up for the hypercar wars, they had thrown down a molten gauntlet. For performance figures, we had 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.4 seconds and a top speed over 217 miles per hour. It didn't officially time the Nürburgring, but the rumors swirled around sub 7-minute times. Only 499 units were made, all sold instantly to hand-picked customers. You didn't ask for one, Ferrari offered you one. The LaFerrari wasn't just a Ferrari, it was an embodiment of what Ferrari stood for: innovation, performance, racing pedigree, and a refusal to follow trends, even while embracing it. It wasn't the end either. Ferrari built 40 LaFerrari Apertas to celebrate the 70th anniversary, which were open-top and even more exclusive and more valuable. And in 2016, when the 500th LaFerrari coupe was built to aid earthquake victims in Italy, it sold at auction for $7 million, which was the most expensive new car ever sold at the time. The LaFerrari was a Ferrari flexing every single muscle: mechanical, electrical, emotional, and saying, "This is the best we can do for now." A hybrid not for fuel economy, but for domination. A Ferrari not for collectors, but for pilots. A name so bold it had to represent the entire brand. It wasn't the future of Ferrari. It was Ferrari at its absolute apex. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content, especially as we work our way through these Gran Turismo Invitational cars. Well, let's go ahead and take this one over to the Tokyo Expressway and see how it lines up against cars we've already tested. This is another invitational car in-game, just like in real life, so you have to wait for the roulette ticket to allow you to purchase this car. And once you get it, it'll set you back 1.6 million credits. So that's about 2 races at Le Mans, and you'll be spending about an hour competing in order to buy this car. You do have 30 days, so I do suggest picking this one up if you get the Ferrari invitation. And the good news is you can buy all 3 cars with that single invitation. Fully built, the LaFerrari ends up with 817 performance points, with the horsepower hitting 1,071 and the torque at 543. Now that is a little bit more than the Enzo, but it's got more weight as well at 2,767 pounds. The top speed suffered a little bit because of that, and I was able to hit 237 miles per hour on the straights on this track. This is still a great car. It does suffer something that's typical in this game with the hybrids is once you run out of that battery, it's depleting overall. It's hard to maintain the power in the battery, and it would make your laps suffer quite dramatically. I was also only able to get about 2 laps out of this car before needing to refuel, so I do prefer the Enzo. But it does stay naturally aspirated throughout its life, which is a nice nod to the original vehicle. The front tires wore at about 25%, with about 50% wear to the rears. So it's not that big of a deal with the fact that you're going to run out of gas anyway, but you can also maintain these things a little bit longer through using the fuel maps and adjusting which tires you select. But I do prefer the Enzo, even though it's more expensive. We ended up hitting a time of 1 minute 48.629, so it is a little slower than the Enzo as well, and that put it right behind the engine-swapped Nismo 400R and just in front of the engine-swapped Corvette ZR1. So still a car very well worth picking up. It just has some limitations that don't make it the best choice among the invitational Ferraris. Thank you for watching, and please stay clean.